All right, we're going to continue with our discussion of surface area, and we're going to do surface area of cylinders. And again, we're going to follow the same pattern we did with prisms. Cylinders and prisms, basically mathematically, we'll be calculating things the same, but since we have circles involved, the calculations have to change. We have to include pi in there somehow. So again, we're going to find the surface area using our basic outline or template that we used for the surface area of prisms, which was the lateral area plus 2 times the area of the base. So you can see in the animation here, we do have 2 identical bases, which are circles, and then we have to deal with this lateral area. So what is the lateral area? Actually, it is a rectangle when you unfold it. So you can see from this animation that when you unfold a cylinder, you actually do get one long rectangle. So how do we find the dimensions of that rectangle? Well, it's going to be the perimeter of the base is going to be the length of that rectangle, and then the height of the cylinder is going to be the height of that rectangle. Well, how do you find the perimeter of a circle? Well, the perimeter of a circle is called circumference. So instead of perimeter, we're going to be using the circumference of the circle times the height plus 2 times the base. And to find the circumference of the circle, that was pi times the diameter. But since we have to use radius to find the area of the base, we're going to use the circumference using the radius, which is 2 times pi times radius. So the circumference of the circle times the height will give us our lateral surface area, and then we're going to find the area of the base, which is pi r squared, and then double it times 2. So that gives us the surface area of a cylinder is this fancy formula here, 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. But again, this is just the basic parts. Lateral surface area plus 2 times the area of the base. We're still following that same template we used with our prisms. And here it is again in a little bit more detail. So again, we can see our surface area formula, 2 pi rh plus 2 pi r squared. So here's an example of a cylinder that I already have worked out. We're going to find the surface area of this. So again, the lateral area is 2 pi rh. So our radius is 6. And the height of the cylinder is 12, so 2 pi times 6 times 12. And then, of course, the radius is 6, so we do 2 pi times 6 squared. And then again, as always, I'm not going to calculate with pi until the very end, so I do 2 times 6 times 12, and that gives me 144. And then 6 squared times 2 is 72, so I have 144 pi plus 72 pi, and then I combine those to give me 216 pi. And now the last step, I do that calculation. 216 times pi is approximately 678.6 square centimeters when rounded to the nearest tenth. So there is the surface area of that cylinder. So here we have another cylinder, and we want to find the surface area of the cylinder. So again, the lateral surface area plus 2 times the area of the base. That's what we're going to do. So 2 times pi times, well, the radius here is going to be half of 19, which is 9.5, times the height of our cylinder, which is 25, plus 2 times the area of the base, which is pi times 9.5 squared. And then again, I do all of these calculations before I do pi. If I do this times this times this, I get 475 pi plus 9.5 squared times 2 is 180.5 pi. And then I will combine these to get 655.5 pi. And now I can do my calculation with pi and then round that to the nearest tenth. That gives me a total surface area of 2,059.3 square millimeters. Again, we're talking about area here. Make sure you're labeling things with squared and not cubed like we did with volume. And that is surface area of cylinders.